Hey everyone, friend of the podcast, Carl Bonner is a mixing engineer who helps other producers and mixers find, attract, and build better relationships with clients who are making the kind of music you are most passionate about. He recently began developing a course based on how he trains the Spotify algorithm to make super accurate recommendations for you to find potential artists to work with. And he's giving it all away for free while it's still a work in progress. So go to carlbonner.com/coaching to learn more, and I'll have a link for that in the show notes. So go check it out. Hey everyone, welcome back to Secret Sonics. This is episode 122 with Ava King. I had a great chat with Ava. Really went deep on so many topics, including her journey from being a journalist to being a TV show host in China, and then learning music production over the internet, and then eventually making her way to Los Angeles. We talked about lessons from her mentor, Rob Cavallo, staying sober, a life of learning, enjoying the journey, how to make great arrangements, working in service of female artists, getting sync deals, her approach to songwriting, becoming a rapper, and literally everything in between. So I think you're going to love this conversation. So with all that to say, enjoy my conversation with Ava King here on Secret Sonics. You're listening to Secret Sonics, a podcast exploring the creative side of music production. Join us weekly for honest conversations with real-world music producers and audio professionals. Hello, and welcome back to Secret Sonics. I'm your host, Ben Wallach. My guest today is Ava King. Ava is a female producer / singer/songwriter. She was born and raised in France and later spent 10 years in China before moving over to LA just before the pandemic. She has had recent releases with Death by Romy on Capitol Records, along with forthcoming releases with NCT, Universal China, and One OK Rock. She has produced for Nicole Scherzinger and is mentored by 3-time Grammy Award-winning producer Rob Cavallo. Beyond artist releases, Ava has written music for the film Crazy Rich Asians, The Ellen DeGeneres Show, and the TV show Empire. Former guest of the podcast, Carl Bonner, recommended I reach out to Ava, who's graciously agreed to join me on the air. So with all that to say, welcome to Secret Sonics, Ava.
Yay! Thank you. Yeah, and thanks to Carl. I'm super grateful I get this opportunity to, come on air as a producer. It's so cool.
Absolutely. Yeah, and Carl's the man, so thanks for hooking this up. So Ava, tell us a little bit about your journey. I know, like, France, China, LA, and it's like sounds like a big story. I'd love to hear a little bit about it.
Oh yeah, okay. Simple version is born in France, grew up in France. When I was 17, came to the States for college, and then after college went to China and became a TV host and personality over there for a decade.
What?
Yeah, it was pretty insane. And then at the end of that decade, I was kind of like, okay, what's the next chapter? And so started really studying music online from China. And then a few years in, I just decided, hey, I'm just going to move back to the States. Moved to New York at first for a couple years. I didn't really like the vibe there. And then came to LA for an ASCAP Expo and was like, oh yeah, this feels like home. So just kind of went back and forth between China and LA for like a few years. Was just learning so much in LA around music. And then right before the pandemic, just decided to make my move here. Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy. I'd love it if you could take me back a little bit further and say, like, talk a little bit about music and how that began for you, because I'm sure it was before the whole China TV. Like, I'm sure you grew up with it, right?
Oh yeah. So I grew up in France, but it was an English speaking household because my dad's British and my mother was American, and I grew up on Disney. You know, I grew up on musicals, Singing in the Rain, and my mother at Christmas would play the Elvis Christmas album. She would also play a lot of blues. Yeah, and then so that for me, and then Britney Spears, like, Hit Me Baby One More Time.
Classic millennial, right?
Oh my God, that was the record. It still is the record for me, honestly. I really love that record so much. A
lot of people, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I vividly remember that record when it came out. Must have been 12 or 13 or something.
It was just such an arresting record. Yeah, like you heard that opening and you were like, wow, I'm in. You know, and that's the power of music production, is that opening riff was like, whoa. And it was just great. Yeah, I grew up on MTV, on the weekends back when MTV, I think, was still showing music videos. I think MTV is a little bit of a different beast now. And would put on these little musicals with my sister for our parents. I think every weekend we would dress up in sheets and we would just create these little musical plays and these songs. You know, it was really fun. And definitely, that type of like, I want to say the musical harmonies that are slightly more complex. Like that's what I really enjoy still in music production. But we'll get into that. Yeah. And then I got to college and I just didn't really think about music at all when I got to college. I was kind of finding my way. I was dealing with an eating disorder. I had a lot of in the background, in the background of my life, I have a lot of, mental health issues.
Don't we all?
Yeah. That
just nobody talks about it, but yeah.
Yeah. And maybe on this podcast, like I'm open to talking about it because I think it's just so important to also, be super real. I've had a very blessed and privileged life, but I've also deal with, we also deal with what's in our heads. Like I deal very much with the ongoing noise in my head. And at the time that noise took the form of an eating disorder. And so during college, I was really in that, I think how deep do we want to go? I was really in it. I think during college, I was trying to pursue something that would make me feel like I fit in, like I fit into New York. And I was at Columbia and they had a really great journalism school. So I sort of got into writing. And I was really just really lucky. I wrote a couple of articles for the New York Times on Chinese culture. Because that's the other thing at school is I was just really into learning Chinese language.
You wrote in the New York Times when you were in college?
Yeah, I think I published
That's insane.
I published my first piece when I was 18 in the New York Times. Because at the time,
good for you.
Yeah, no, thank you. At the time, they didn't.
I mean, I'm a native New Yorker, right? So I grew up with the New York Times. So
yeah,
Brooklyn, so.
Yeah. No, it was a great experience. Just kind of, and that's also like my life. Honestly, has just been this slow unpacking of the onion, and again, very privileged to be able to have the time to do that, right? So coming to New York and being like, oh, I've always liked writing, like, let me really try this. And I had a couple of amazing mentors along the way. And then, towards the end of my college experience, kind of realizing, no, I don't think I'm cut out to be a journalist. I remember writing my second piece for the Times about this Chinese writer, and the editors kept coming back to me and were like, "This is a puff piece. Like you're basically saying like, oh, you just love this writer, blah blah blah. Like we need to get the dark underbelly of what's like really going on, And I just remember like, okay, I'm going to dig for the darkness. I'm going to find something that's negative to write about. And I was just like, which I don't know, journalism, again, it's like objectiveness, right? You want the good, but you also want the bad, right? So, and then my personality is always sort of more people pleasing. So I think I just wanted to write about the good. And I have so much.
You're the oldest between you and your sister?
Yeah, I'm the older one. Yeah.
Okay, I could figure that out. Okay.
Yeah.
As an oldest, yeah.
Really? What about?
Sure. No, just people pleasing. It's such a part of who I am, and part, like, I don't know, for good and bad, right? Like it makes me a good music producer because I'm able to help the people I work with.
Yeah.
On the other hand, sometimes I'm too giving of myself because I'm a people pleaser. So
what does that have?
It's a double, but also as an oldest child, I feel like it's part of the comes with the package,
Wait, why is the oldest child the people pleaser?
I think I don't know. I mean, it's not a psychology podcast, but from my experience, oldest children tend to feel a sense bigger responsibility and wanting to like do right in the eyes of the parents that maybe gave you a bit more attention when you were younger, and I don't know, stuff like that.
Got you. Okay. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not a psychologist. I did study it undergrad, but
it's interesting. Yeah. So anyway, so I thought to myself, oh, maybe I'm probably not cut out to be a journalist, And then I got to China and I really wanted to do singing. Like I always really loved to sing, and I got to China, and the first opportunity I got, which was given to me, it's going to sound so seedy. It was given to me at midnight in like a hotel room. they were just conducting interviews of all these people for this position. And I showed up late thinking, oh, this is a position for a singer. But they said, oh, this is actually a position for a TV host. And I didn't know at the time, but it was the baby station of like one of China's biggest national TV stations. And so they were like, well, you're interested in singing, but can you host? And I was like, I don't know. I've never done it, you know? And they were like, well, your Chinese is good enough, so why not try it? I was like, oh, fine. So then I just fell into TV hosting for a decade.
That's crazy. What a crazy story.
Yeah,
you fell into being a TV host in China.
It's so random. It's just so random. And during my time in China, like I really did try to get back into music. Like I had built up this notoriety. So I'd built up a little bit of fame as a TV host. And so I tried to leverage that fame to go and to do talent shows in China, but I always lost. I just really wasn't, I don't know, my technique as a singer, I don't know what it was. It just really didn't work out. But I don't know, I always felt just drawn to music. And towards the end of my time in China, I just thought to myself, man, I just love music so much. Wouldn't it be great to just be able to really be a student of music? And so that's when I found the Berklee School online. They have this online department with all these classes. And at the time, there was still a loophole for me to pay for that school in Chinese yuan. Because what happens is that China doesn't allow its currency to go out of China. It's part of the way that I think it controls the value of the Chinese yuan. So, you know, for example, if you're a foreigner living in China, I can't wire money from China to the US. I can't wire more than $500 a time.
Wow.
Like it's just very, very controlled, basically. And I think the limit for a Chinese national is wiring like 10 grand. But
wow.
So but Berklee Online, I think every class like costs like $4,000 or something. So there was still a loophole at the time that I figured out on PayPal. Through PayPal, I could like spend as much money in Chinese yuan and like convert it to the dollar. And it was just such a random thing. And then I did 4 years of Berklee Online, and I started just learning about the songwriting. And then I was like, oh, this isn't deep enough. So then I literally took almost every single one of their classes in their online catalog. And I was so lucky I could do that because I'd saved money from my hosting career. And then right after I finished my like last course, like the loophole closed. Like I couldn't pay anymore through PayPal. So it was just such a universe shot, I feel, that was like, we're just going to give you these few years in time so you can learn as much as you can. And then
it's an amazing story. Wow.
It's so fun. Yeah. And then I got to the point where the teachers online were really great, but I got to the point where I'm like, oh, there's more. Like this isn't enough. So then I went to New York and I would kind of pay to just watch producers produce. I would just like go to New York and then just pay. And then I got to the point where I'm like, oh, this isn't enough. Like I'm still not producing at the level that like, cause I wanted that Britney Spears Hit Me Baby One More Time, like that level of production. I'm like, I'm still not producing at that level. Like I need to go and find more mentors. And I was like, what's the next place? Okay, LA. Like let's find mentors in LA, you know? And this is really the spot. It just continues to challenge me every single day. Like it's never endless, the amount of things that I need to learn, and also the amount of things that I need to change in myself. Like, I feel that my journey in music is not really about succeeding or earning a lot of money or being famous or whatever. I think my journey in music is God saying, okay, these are all the things you need to heal in your soul. I'm going to curse you with an obsession of music. And then you'll have to heal all these things in your personality because you won't be able to get to the next level without healing these things, you know? So that's my LA woo-woo interpretation, you know?
I got you. I mean, I've had people say that, I'm trying to remember who told me this recently, but someone was saying like, yeah, like musicians, we're all just like a little bit messed up and music is just our therapy.